A master's degree in aviation is not anything to celebrate about. I'd rather have a rating for air traffic control to allow me to control the whole airspace than, than continuing to have a master's degree. That's really the nature of the industry. In the lower levels, like security, once you get a screener certificate that allows you to screen on a specific equipment, or once you get a certificate allowing you to put off a fire of a certain magnitude, then for us in aviation, we are home and dry. As far as inspectors are concerned, or pilots, once you have many hours of flying, because that is really the industry standard, you don't become a senior inspector unless you have either flown many hours or you have flown
you don't need a PhD.
A big aircraft. So PhDs, I don't know which ones, are not a very usual occurrence in an aviation industry. In fact, if you see the celebrated pilots, just check them. So many of them are actually senior 4.
Actually, we have a pilot referred to as captain who at some point was said not to have the requisite academic qualifications for standing as member of parliament. Can you imagine? Sorry? A pilot is a driver in the air.
So, Honorable Chair, what I'm trying to drive
Yes. And this one was the senior driver of an airplane. Okay.
Honorable Chair, what I'm trying to drive at.
Yes.
Industry qualifications sometimes are not really.
So in other words, these people suffered the wrath not because they
inspector something, and I would imagine that if somebody is to move to senior, he has to be vetted. The file has to be checked and put up to date. So if the very people who did not check this person who has become a senior or a principal or something, and the very people who have would again verified this exercise as an internal arrangement, don't you see that there is something that it is not clear, Mr. Chairman?
I think there are two things, Honorable Itungo, from what unique certificate, and it is not forged. They had an opportunity to explain. As long as the due process finds you culpable that you forged academic documents, what business do you have? That's number one. Number two, they are going to answer whether, because it is a yes or no, the question of whether they hired an external person or they did it. Now, if someone found that the finding was improper, I went to school, but you are saying I have forged academic documents, that person would either have recourse to the system of civil aviation within or go to court. So the question I would want them to answer is, who carried out the exercise?
Chair, before they answer, Mr. Chairman, we have the case of our colleague who was here. He said he was working there as a cleaner after senior 4. And this person disappeared in Canada. That is one. When he disappeared, those HR people were not able to remove him on payroll for some time. But he received the money on his account. It was not that he was not there. The bit of it which has to be explained now in the court is why did it take long for this person to be removed from the payroll? And the second case is also in the same explained the same way. So these are matters. Of course, we've been discussing it and a little bit distinguishing it from where you find people on the payroll, but they are not there at all. And our attempt to get this gentleman, of course, is they are still looking for them through Interpol, but we were frustrated because this person is not here.
To charge them with what?
For receiving salaries while they have already absconded
Did they apply for it,
for
for
the
that
money.
salary?
Of course, those are details. Like a lawyer, you know how to deal with it as a lawyer. But at least he should accept that he received the salary.
Actually, your remedy on that is civil,
Okay.
to get our money back.
Yes. So really, honorable chair and members, this is what happened. There is absolutely no payment of someone who is not there. So, but CID, of course, we are not CIDs, we are not neither are we DPP. So we are waiting to see how people defend themselves and distinguish this from the normal. Because I have also seen that many people were paying other people who are not there at all. This is a peculiar case, but the HR is here. Is somebody good.
In other words, it is the degree of
Yes.
crime,
Culpability.
degree of negligence
Yes.
that you are alluding to. You know, even Jesus said in the Bible, you don't say, oh, for me, I'm not as a sinner as that one.
So, Chair, I don't know.
Let's hear from the sinner to tell us how she survived and why. You know, you're now the department.
Yeah.
She's not the sin, she's the sinner. And I'm using this, by the way, metaphorically.
I know.
Okay.
I know. Thank you so much, Chair. And
Some of your staff have been charged in court, and those ones do not relate to this. But these are HR staff. That's why I asked your HR officer one, how did you survive? They relate to a previous audit, HR audit. I think it is affecting a number of institutions. What do you have to say about that? How did we get there?
We have two people. One was sent abroad to work, to do a course, a short course. And this person disappeared in Canada. When he disappeared, those HR people were not able to remove him on payroll for some time. But he received the money on his account.
specific case of a gentleman, there was a letter that was written by the supervisor. And the reason we are there is that there was a lapse somewhere in our duties, because the letter came and it was given to the officer who was supposed to immediately remove the person from payroll, and the person was not immediately removed from payroll. By the time the auditors came, the person was still on payroll. So by the time we removed the person, audit had already picked it. So this is how it became a problem.
How